Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Dugout Podcast. I'm Andrew, alongside Marissa,
Hi.
and tonight we are talking both cricket and football. I think we're going to start with cricket,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, and the World T20 final. The Dugout Podcast team, well, two-thirds of the team, made an appearance at the game. Very, very enjoyable, very, very entertaining. Since Marissa is the resident cricket expert, we'll start with her. India came out on top against South Africa. What would have been your takeaway from the game? What were your thoughts?
Basically, what you said, it really was a good game, I think the previous two games we attended were quite one-sided, but this one had a real nice ebb and flow to it. 1 minute India was on top, then South Africa, then India. So I really enjoyed it from that perspective. Whoever won the game would have deserved to win the tournament because both sides were unbeaten. I felt disappointed for South Africa because I think they messed it up. 30 off 30. It's like they kind of panicked after class and got out, and then I don't even know. But then we had a kind of sort of controversial moment that I don't find a lot of people are talking about really. With Sky's catch on the boundary, where we saw that, because that was a crucial moment. If that had gone for 6, David Miller would have still been in 10 or 5, quite doable. So we saw that where his foot was, the boundary cushions had been pushed back a bit, which means that if they were in their correct position, it would have been 6.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, some people calling South Africa chokers. Some people giving India the credit. I don't know where I stand. I feel that South Africa should have done it. But I do feel India bowled quite well in those last 3 overs. Rohit's captaincy was good. Because I remember just before Hardik came on and got up class in, we were kind of surprised that he went with Hardik. And it paid dividends. But looking back on the game, I did feel like I don't think South Africa really played a big shot in that period. Like, my uncle messaged me and say we look about West Indies, but somebody would at least try to hit 2 6s in that period. And I don't really feel I don't know if you think the same, but I look back on it, did they just get bogged down? Was the bowling that good? But they didn't really play a shot in angle for me during that period.
You're talking about the bowling change where Hardy and Boomer came back into the attack. Well, before you go though, you finish? So the question is obviously, did South Africa choke or did India, get it better of them? I don't want to call it a choke, and here's why. A choke is, to me, more a situation where you are accustomed to do something, and then the pivotal moment you freeze and you stop doing what you're accustomed to do. I wouldn't necessarily call it a choke because I feel as though that would be a harsh tag to label them with. I think the captain from South Africa, Aidan Markram, his comments were telling to me, in a sense that although we're in the stand and we, as a fan from a spectator point of view, we look at it as though India are favorite. Sorry, not India. South Africa were favorite at that stage, and it looks like a total that they should get a target that they should bring home from here with that advantage. But Markram said in his post-match that they never felt comfortable. They never felt. So I guess like what we were feeling, that wasn't necessarily coming from the dressing room.
That's interesting.
He said he almost suggested then that there was a little bit of trepidation. And yes, we're not saying that they should have become complacent, but they themselves were kind of like, on the edge in a sense. And that's basically how it played out to me. I think it's just a case where the turning point is obviously the bowling changes that Rohit Sharma made. They made a difference, and I felt like, the pressure that India were able to apply in the field by bringing back Burma. Because although you have wickets in hand, it's still a tight game. 30 off 30 is still kind of tight in terms of run a ball, but it's not like they needed 15 off 30, where then it's a definite clear advantage. I feel like, so when you mention they didn't play a shot in anger, I think in that situation, if I'm the batsman, my tactic is just to rotate the strike. I definitely don't lose a wicket cheaply. So if I get out, he has to bowl a special delivery to get me out. And that's what, I think he got somebody out bowled with a special delivery. But apart from that, the other dismissals would have been catches in the deep. So then you have to question, did South Africa manage to hold their nerve? I still won't call it a choke because South Africa, they think this was their second international final in a tournament settings since they lost to New Zealand in '97 Champions Trophy, if I'm not mistaken. So they haven't been in this position many times before. I don't know if I would call it a choke. And even though like the majority of their games were close, they wouldn't have faced this level of opposition either.
It's true. And a couple of things I want to zero in on there. I didn't actually hear what Markham said, but I heard what Rohit said, and he kind of mirrored that. So you say when Markham said that they never felt comfortable, Rohit said they never felt out of it, even though it was 30 off of 30. And I think one of the things, you mentioned 30 off of 30 being tight. I think one of the things that T20 has spoiled us is that we think 6 runs are over cake. But it has been shown in West Indies that those sort of tight 6 and over run chases, I mean, yes, it started at 8 and they brought it on to 6. So you would think, yeah, they should win. But when you look at the game, some games, look at India, Pakistan. Pakistan had less than a runner ball, still messed it up. And you saw that a lot throughout the World Cup. So like you, I feel it would be harsh to label them chokers, especially since of the 7 games they played to get to the final, 6 were close wins. Some of them games that they looked out of it. Netherlands, they were 12-4. Against us, it was nervy for a while, also needing a runner ball. So, I mean, the same way, I think Rabada got a 4 and then Janssen got a 6 against us to win the game. Could have easily happened against India too. So, yeah, I feel for South Africa. I thought the images after the game were interesting. I wonder if we would have seen it on TV if we were home watching it. But, like, you could tell, even though they were backing us, I could tell how dejected they were. Some people were sitting down on the floor. And I think the officials allowed their families, their wives and their children to come on the pitch with them before the post-match ceremony, and just the comforting hugs. And it just felt like they were really, really disappointed. So I think it would be harsh because they played some really good cricket throughout the tournament. And I mean, you gotta give Jackie. India have been phenomenal with their bowling. I think Klaasen's innings is really what got South Africa in that position. And there were other key moments. I felt like when South Africa lost 2 quick wickets, you had Dugout and Stubbs batting really well. And when I went home and saw the highlights, we couldn't see from the stands, but Stubbs' shot was actually quite silly because he was outside off stump and basically just swept it onto his stumps or something like that. And it was kind of dumb because they were playing well, they had good momentum, so it didn't feel like a necessary shot at that stage. And we could always tell when India were under pressure because their fans were like dead quiet behind us. And then Dugout got a 6 or a 4, one of the two.
It was a 6, yeah.
And then the very next ball, like you said, field change. Just hit the ball down the man. Like
Rohit sent the fielder straight in the same position where the shot was played. And he was like, all right, try it again if it's bad. he tried it again.
So it's like those key moments. So I like to think that instead of just doing the easy thing and labeling South Africa as chokers, India won the key moments, I felt. But it was a really great final, to be honest.
Yeah. I was happy with the final that we got in the end.
Yeah.
The two best teams in the tournament, not just because they were undefeated, but I think India were, played the best cricket.
Yeah.
In some difficult conditions, that they bemoaned as well about the pitches in some of the territories that hosted games. And so Africa again, not necessarily winning a lot of matches convincingly, but they played in moments and they won keep exactly. So I was happy in the sense that I was certain that it wouldn't have been a final where it would have been lopsided. I knew it would have been a tight contest.
It's true.
And I'm happy that we got that. Like you said, commiserations to South Africa. I mean, I would have been surprised if they didn't look disappointed and dejected because it was a chance.
Yeah.
And I think looking back on it, it's not, I guess making it to any final in a big tournament is not easy. It shouldn't be something that you take for granted. And they will look back at it as a chance missed, but hopefully it, I guess, makes them stronger and next time they're in the final, they execute a bit better coming on to the end because it was there. But I just think that the fact that, going back to Markham, not feeling comfortable at any stage it almost feels like, for example, I don't think there was ever a period necessarily in the chase where they weren't accumulating runs, even if it wasn't boundaries. And for that reintroduction of Hardik and Burma, the runs kind of stopped. Yeah. And I feel like if that's really pressure then was built in terms of we not even getting anything on the scoreboard. And for me, if it was a batsman or if it was coming from the dressing room, the message would have been just don't get out, because like you said, Klassen, Miller at the crease, you have hitters that even if, let's say, for example, you go to the last 2 overs, 12 balls needed, you still need like a 24, 25. That's still doable for you, for those batsmen. So I think they kind of panicked. Yeah. They panicked a bit.
Yeah, when I went back home and I looked at the highlights, the ball that Klassen edged behind was pretty wide. That could have easily gone for 4.
Right.
So it's those kind of fine margins. And to be honest, I don't know what you would say to this, but I think South Africa would have won that final against any other team.
Based on what we see in the tournament, I would agree with that, except one other thing. Because I feel as though, although India don't necessarily do it as often as this other team that I'm about to mention,
Australia,
there's something about Australia and India to a lesser degree where they never seems as if they're truly beaten.
Yeah.
Until you get even in runs or you take the last wicket.
It's true. I don't think I've ever seen, at least in our lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen Australia lose a final.
I try to think. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I think the last final Australia lost. It was in our lifetime, but we wouldn't have remembered it. That was in the '96 final against Sri Lanka.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't remember that.
I think I've seen the highlights of the game though. Because on YouTube, I may just watch a couple old highlights of World Class matches. I've seen the highlights.
Yeah.
But that's the one final that I know they have lost in our lifetime.
Okay.
And I do think did they lose any other finals? Right, and I'm pretty sure they lost one of the ODI finals that West Indies would have won. Maybe you Summit World Cup.
Yeah.
To us, I think if it wasn't the first, it would have been the second one.
Way back then.
Yeah, it is 75 or 79. Way back then. But yeah, I think so. I would agree with you, except. And this thing, I don't want to diminish South Africa because I think they've played better cricket overall in the tournament than Australia ultimately did. But it's just like in those type of tight games, Australia always find a way, and India as well. But I think India don't do it as often because I think that generally when India play and are playing well, they tend to win a bit more comfortably most of the time.
Yeah. But it was a good final. I'm glad we were there. Yeah. I'm surprised we got a full game. And the rain spared us so beautifully that it literally just started pelting down the minute the game was done. I
didn't know what you do surprising. But I said relax. I said, be good. I kept looking over Archer. I was like,
so you was like, be good. Yeah, you see where the man felt this.
I know. Yeah. I was taught in my teens. I think it was at cricket too. And somebody was like, what do you do? Somebody was like, no. Every rain coming from a certain direction, that rain go over. So that stuck with me.
Yeah. So the other team that I feel should have at least got the semi-final,
right?
West Indies. Where would you say it went wrong?
Me? Well, I'm glad that you asked. And I'll be happy to tell you. All jokes aside, I think, I know there's a lot of, what's the word? Is it skepticism or pessimism? Can't remember. But there's a lot of detractors, put it that way, when it comes to the West Indies team in some quarters, where I do believe that certain elements of our fan base, they're happy when we do well, obviously, and they want us to do well, but it's like they don't have any faith that we ultimately will do as well as we potentially, could do. So I don't want to say detractors, but there are a lot of there's a lot of pessimism about the West Indies in terms of, for example, people who didn't think we would have gotten out of the Super 8s. I honestly believe that, having watched the tournament for the most part fully, we had the capability of getting out of the Super 8s. I just think that where it went wrong was against that game against England. When I messaged you before the game, I said, this attack, because St. Lucia's ground, Darren Sammy Stadium, would have been the best ground in terms of scoring runs so far in the tournament up to that point. And I felt like, okay, we would get runs on this pitch. But England have batters and they would get runs too. And I felt like you needed a bit more penetration in the attack to put a bit more pressure on England when England do bat, so that you could either restrict them to chasable total or defend a total if you have to defend it. And bat it first. And we were like 25, 30 runs short with that attack. And that was the problem for me. I honestly felt that it was an opportunity missed in the sense that that was the time, that was the game to really play an unchanged team. Like, from the last game against Afghanistan. And even though the Afghanistan game was a dead rubber, my goodness, it was such an impressive performance. Our best performance in the tournament. I felt like that's where we should have kept an unchanged lineup. So I think ultimately that game was a key turning point. Beating South Africa in a winner takes all would have always been difficult. And the reality is that we maybe could have avoided, I'm not saying for sure we would beat England, but we could have avoided putting ourselves in that scenario if we had maybe select a better 11 in that game. But it seems to be a theme with the West Indies in terms of we always end up in this winner takes all clash. As far as I can remember from 1999 World Cup, where we had that same situation against Australia. Happens.
It's funny because people would say you was calling for Obed McCoy, then he get picked versus USA, only bowled 2 overs, expensive. Then you still called for he, then he bowled against South Africa and he was poor. Here's what I would say to that. He looks like a confidence bowler.
Right, okay.
So there are 2 points I have to why he should have played against England. He bowled fantastically well against Afghanistan. Took 3 for 14, bowled really well. That was a prime opportunity to allow him to continue that momentum against England, especially since left-arm fast bowlers have done so well throughout this tournament. I think the top 3 wicket takers, top 2 because Burma's 3, top 2 wicket takers in the tournament are left-arm seam.
Okay.
Richard Ashdi and Faruqi from Afghanistan. The other reason that came to me in hindsight was the fact that Obed McCoy's played for the Tridents now, but he played for the St. Lucia Zoots, Kings, whatever it is they're called now, for years. He knows that ground inside and out.
Okay.
So
even though the conditions.
Exactly. And he has a very good record in St. Lucia. You should have played him. Because it goes back to the point you made, which is a fantastic one. If you have a flat pitch, your batters aren't going to win you the game. Your bowling is. Yeah, Phil Salt played a fantastic innings, but England's bowling won them that game by restricting us to 180. Plain and simple. So then you go into a game with 3 all-rounders and 3 out bowlers. It was never going to work. And after the game, I actually posted that conversation we had before the toss because we called it. So losing wasn't a surprise. It was just a huge disappointment because the game was there for the taking. And I think I would have felt better. And why I see that as a key game is because if we had selected right, I think we could have won.
Yeah.
But knowing that we didn't select right, it's just this thing at the back of your head, what if? And I think it was really disappointing. Even outside the selection, when I look back at our batting, for some reason we got stuck in the middle. Not quite sure why. I mean, yes, England bowled well, but it was like, was it nerves? Was it fear? I don't know what it was.
It's a word. I find that most times our batting lineup doesn't necessarily put in a perfect performance all the way through the innings. That's one thing. But for me, I felt like every time we started to gain some momentum, we lost a wicket. I think that was the problem. So then the new guy coming in had to start to adjust and took us a bit of time to get going again. I felt as though that's where England did it well, where
kept taking wickets.
Correct. Because again, when you have a bowling attack that can offer a bit of penetration as well as, be economical. Because for me, and I said to you at the final, the best way to defend a total or to restrict someone is to take a wicket.
Yeah. That's what India did.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and I felt like, we kind of do this a lot though, where we kind of pack our lineup with all-rounders and stuff like that. And then we end up one we would call straight bowler. And we end up not being able to, accomplish what the goal is.
Yeah.
So for example, even, and it used to happen a lot when I watched cricket back in the day. We're like, even when let's say we have them, let's say 105 or 2 or whatever, or let's say 99 for 2 after 15. And we doing good. Keeping these a hand on these guys. But when the people ready to explode, being on there to give them a knock back and set them back a bit, unless they make a mistake. And I don't know why our team selection always suggests that that's where we will end up.
Yeah.
But I find that's where we kind of go wrong.
And two other things. One, I think it kind of slides on the radar that Puran actually dropped salt quite early.
Yeah, somebody told me that.
And that would have been critical because he went on and just blasted away. And then finally, when you look at, I want to use 2 examples, India and England. And to a lesser extent, South Africa too. So I'll use all 3 of those examples. When India played in New York, they picked their extra fast bowler because that's what the pitches dictated. From the time they got to the Caribbean, they switched him out for a spinner. So they played the same team in the States and then another team in the Caribbean, horses for courses.
Right.
South Africa did the same thing. So they had Rabada, Norkia, and Bartman, which was their third fast bowler. Then when certain pitches dictated, they brought in Shamsi, the spinner.
Right.
Again, horses for courses. England did it too. Sometimes they would pick Mark Wood for the extra pace. And then other times when they felt like you didn't need the extra pace, but you needed the variations, they would then switch him out for Restockley. Horses for courses, or even Chris Jordan would kind of alternate as well. We didn't do that. And that was the frustrating thing about the West Indies. We just decided to stick. We had a preconceived notion of what our best 11 was coming in, and we weren't going to budge on that. And to me, that was a problem.
Yeah.
St. Lucia was the track to choose horses for courses, and we did not.
I often look at the opponent as well. So I look at what the opponent's strengths are.
True.
And I know people always say, for example, like, if your team is strong enough, then you just stick to what you're good at. Yeah, you stick to what you're good at, but at the same time, for example, if we stick to what we're good at and we happen to win a toss and we feel as though we're better at chasing, then by all means do that. But I also look at the especially in cricket, the opponent, and it's like, all right, if the opponent has a good bowling attack, how can we best counteract that? If they have a good batting attack, how can we best counteract that? Is what our first choice 11 going to counteract that to make it a bit less effective? And that's where I felt we missed the ball, where you definitely need the extra Jamie wicket-taker. I remember we had this conversation before the tournament. Well, I think this tournament has started, but we had it early on, where I called for Shamar, you were calling for Obed. And I said to you, or for me, I didn't care which one you played. It was just a matter of how we were the main team. But I didn't care which one you played. Just recognize that you needed an extra strike bowler just to offer another wicket-taking option.
Exactly. And I think, when you look at it, Alzari finished as our highest wicket taker, then Andrew Russell. Imagine if we had another bowler bowling right throughout the tournament. That would have been, I think Afghanistan had 3 of their main bowlers in the top 10 wicket takers. Bowlers ultimately win you games and win you tournaments. And I think that's where we really messed up. Then another thing too, not to be there, but the point, they wait too long to drop Johnson Charles. There's no way that Johnson Charles should have been dropped only in the last game we played. He should have been dropped long before that. And I'm not saying it would have made a huge difference, but he should have never played against England. Should have never played against England. When you have quality bowling, he struggles, plain and simple. And Shea Hope's first game shouldn't have been against the USA. It should have been, well, not the first game because he played against Afghanistan. He should have played against England. Johnson Charles should have been dropped way earlier. Not saying it would have made a huge difference. But, at the top of the order, you need somebody. You can't have somebody there dotting up. And he played a lot of dot balls through the tournament.
Yeah. And I remember somebody said that Calmeers came in against South Africa and did the same thing.
Basically.
My retort was,
that was me.
But he came in cold.
That was me.
I don't understand where the frustration was, but he came in cold. I think again,
it's not his fault.
That was not his fault, exactly. Yeah. But he came in because of Brandon King's injury to the squad. So, I was calling for Calmeers from the start anyhow. But it's what it is. Disappointed to go at the Super 8 stage.
Glad they got out of the group though.
Yeah. Like I said, it would have been very, very embarrassing and shameful if the co-host that got out of the group was America and not West.
Oh God.
So
yeah, that would have.
I don't know how.
Yeah, that would have.
You would have gotten that one live down.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought the tournament on the whole was quite good. I think, I was saying for a while, I like the pitches, I like the competitive nature, but I must say the semi-final between South Africa and Afghanistan, that pitch was a letdown. I must admit that.
Right.
I don't know who to blame for this, but why would you use a fresh wicket? Why would you not play a track that you have an idea how it's playing? You play a fresh wicket, and it wasn't a good cricket pitch at all.
That's the one where Afghanistan got skilled out for
50 something. Yeah. Right. It wasn't a good wicket, but outside of that, I really enjoyed the World Cup. I did. I don't feel like a justice was done based on who won. I think the 4 semi-finalists were just about right, to be honest. Afghanistan played some fantastic cricket. I thought Australia lost games at the wrong time because they looked quite impressive throughout.
Up to that point, yeah.
England to me weren't that impressive, but they won the right games, which is interesting how T20 goes.
And they won those games in the right manner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought the associates did really well. Scotland. Who else you have? You got Scotland. Who else played well? USA played well in group stage.
Netherlands did well. Nepal was interesting.
Nepal almost turned over South Africa. Yeah. I thought it was a really good World Cup, to be honest.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the next segment again?
We was going to move on to football.
Yeah. Oh, before we do that though, so because you gave your thoughts in tournament as a whole, and I agree with your statement and your position. I think it was entertaining, a really really good watch. I like the fact that a lot of the games were close. Yes, we had the odd one that was one-sided.
Yeah.
That was more to do with the stage of competition and then the gulf between some of the teams at that point. More so than anything else. But we had some really really good cricket, some really really good watches, and apart from the interesting start times of the games.
Yeah, we won't go there. What I will say though, I mean, this tournament was well planned for India to win.
Oh well. But yes, so it was a good tournament. Yeah, really enjoyable.
And I hope going forward that the ICC realizes that these crowds could have been so much better if you had night games. Give an example. The first game at Kensington was Oman, Namibia.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody can watch that for Oman, Namibia. But it was still an okay crowd because it was a night game and cricket was playing.
Yeah.
Play the people cricket in times that people are actually able to go and you will get good crowds. Simple as that.
Yeah. And I set more reasonable prices too.
Yes, indeed.
But I think we should be in, because I know this is the second time you host the T20. When you host it 50 over once, I believe it's about time that it comes back. I'm not sure what the scheduling is. You might have a better idea than me.
I ain't sure right now. I think so telling me 2027. Because the last one is 2023, so yeah, 2027.
Yeah, that's the next time, but I mean, it's the next time that we should be hosting, because it should have come around again, but no.
Yes, got a bid.
We had it in 07.
I think it's got a bid.
It's got a bid?
I ain't sure, but gotta see if vaccines qualify first before we talk about hosting.
They're still keeping the 10 team for the next one as well.
I ain't sure, to be honest.
I remember quite a lot of teams had a lot of issue with that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, I don't know.
I wouldn't though. I would try to expand it. It ain't gonna be as big as the T20 one, but like when you see how teams like Netherlands and who else, Nepal have a good up and coming team. When you see how Scotland, when you see how the associates have been playing, they deserve to be playing.
Scotland were very unlucky not to have that.
They were.
They were playing good cricket.
Oh, they were. They really, really were. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. It was a good tournament. It's over now. Back to normalcy, so to speak.
Yeah. So on to the football, the European Championships 2024. The last 8 have been decided. I think I got most of my predictions for the last 16 right, actually.
I think you got all of them right.
Yeah. Not the scoreline, but I got
scoreline, but eventually winners,
Yeah, because a certain body messaged me.
I think Italy.
That was the one I got wrong. Right? Italy, I got Italy wrong.
I mean, I think most people would have, to be honest.
But a certain body messaged me and tell me that they agree with everything except the Turkey-Austria game, and I was happy to see that I was right about that too.
Barely.
Barely what?
Barely.
Oh boy.
top save at the end there could have easily.
That really was a really good save for you.
I didn't see it. I saw a still of it, but I didn't. I saw it still, and then I heard people talk about it.
Really good save.
See, so they're this close.
This close.
But yeah, when I was watching that game, it was a good game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spain versus Germany, England, Switzerland, Portugal, France, and Netherlands, Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Let's call them Turkey. It's alright. We know who you're referring to.
Yes, but they prefer to be called Turkey.
Turkey. It is Turkey.
Turkey. Thank you. Turkey.
I'm so accustomed to calling them Turkey, right?
It's true.
They do prefer to be called Turkey, you know?
That's what the commentators were saying.
Okay. They should have told us that in 2002. South Korea and Japan. Because you know, when you're accustomed to saying a word in a certain manner, it's very difficult to unlearn it.
So yeah, I think the pick of these quarterfinals will be Spain, Germany.
Of course.
I am very sad that this is happening so early. But before we get to predictions, what's your overall take on how the round of 16 went?
Some interesting games. It went the way I expected it to go. So
these games were a lot tighter than I expected, to be honest.
Okay. There was only one game, but let me see. What did I predict? I predicted that the Portugal-Slovenia game was a lot tighter than I thought it would have been. Because I thought Portugal would have won that comfortably. Obviously, I got the Switzerland-Italy one wrong. But that's because I thought Italy would have done a better job of making it a bit more of a,
most people would
cagey contest and then make a goal. I predicted that Germany would have beaten Denmark.
That was also a little tighter than I would have liked.
I didn't get to watch that.
I watched the second half.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have predicted that England would have gone past Slovakia, but I wasn't confident about that, as you know. And the scripture.
I'm sure no one expected that to be that tight.
So you didn't, but I told you the way, because I've learned something, right? I often rely on history when I'm making predictions as well. But in recent times, I've been telling myself, all right, yes, history plays a role, and what you would say, the football heritage of a team or country, it could be a factor too, I guess, psychologically. But I've been trying more so to look at what I've been seeing my two eyes on the field of play, and gauging, more so than just game because it's Italy that automatically beat somebody, or because it's England. So I said I wouldn't be surprised if Slovakia won 1-0. England almost made me made me an oracle.
I don't want to belabor the point because I don't want to get you started here on England, but
I'm going to get started.
The attitude of England players got me so good in this tournament. Like, Jude came out after the game and said this was a way of giving it back to the people who've been criticizing it.
He said it's a nice way to give a bit back. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, great goal. Good on you guys to come back.
Right.
But you're like in the top 5 teams in the world by rankings.
Right.
You're a very talented squad. Very, very good players.
Yeah.
And this is in no way trying to demean Slovakia. But Slovakia ranked 30-something in the world?
I have no idea. Right.
And you're literally relying on a moment of brilliance to scrape through, and you talk about giving it back to fans. All the criticism you have received is warranted because y'all should be doing better. I
don't even think it was really fans that he met. It wasn't more the pundits or the media.
The pundits have been spot on with their assessment of England. Finally, indeed.
It's England looking like, complete trash for them, to be honest.
So I saw Anthony Gordon come out and said, criticism just means that people expect you to do better and we should be doing better. Why is that so hard for certain people to say? Just tired of it, man.
All right, I can come back to England later, maybe talk with predictions, if that's okay.
Sure, no problem.
I thought the Holland-Romania game would have been a lot tighter, but Holland actually produced their best performance.
They played really, really well.
Actually, the first 15 minutes of that game, right? Romania to the better team. But then once Holland got the goal, it was like they then took over.
Okay, I tuned in about 20 minutes and then, yeah. But they played, that was the best I've seen them play for tournament.
Yeah, they really controlled that game.
Yeah, they did. Turkey, Austria was good. France, Belgium was really boring.
Yeah, because...
Anyways, we'll talk about these teams more in depth when we get to predictions, but...
Because again, I expected a better game. I knew it would have been tight, but I expected a better game.
A spectacle.
But I don't think France played particularly well, and I don't think Belgium had the gumption to think that they were good enough to beat them or topple them.
Yeah. Spain were impressive.
As they often are. I mean,
despite the early scare.
Like I said, I think I said that from the group stage that Spain was the best team that I saw in the tournament.
Yeah.
And I mentioned them as being my favourites as well. I think a lot of people were not looking at Spain because they no longer carry the big stellar names necessarily in like a decade ago. But they played the same way. And they will always produce players of exceptional technique and quality. So should always be mindful.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at some predictions.
Right.
Let's predict. I don't think how I have it there was in order. So that's predict in order. But we definitely know the first one is Spain, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. I fancy Spain to beat Germany, to be honest.
Okay.
I really do. I think Germany have been okay. Well, Germany have been good. I was kind of disappointed with the performance against Denmark a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we did have a few changes, some enforced, some not. But I think Spain just looked really impressive. I think it's going to be a tight one. It could go to extra time, could go to penalties, but so I don't know what score I need to predict.
Right.
But I do think Spain will win.
Okay. So I didn't get to see the Germany-Denmark game as I mentioned before, but I would have seen all of Germany's games in group phase. I have been impressed with Germany. It's definitely an improvement from the recent tournaments that we have seen, which I would have predicted, but I would have predicted that this a bit prematurely in the past. I'm happy that I actually got it right now. Because there was a tournament where I said that I think Germany will at least get a group, and you were like, nope, and you were right. But I'm happy that they seem to have, fallen some footing. And I think what this tournament should really be for Germany is like a foundation to build upon going forward. Agree. Because they definitely have some nice young talent coming through again. I think what this game will come down to, and I said it's not about whether or not Spain will play well, whether or not Spain will look vibrant. They definitely look vibrant with the two attacking wingers, Williams and Lamel. That those two have added a new dimension to the attack. Pedri and Fabian in midfield, and Rodri, strong midfield. Defense capable. Carvajal, Cucurella, I think Lenormand, I think that's his name, and Laporte played the last game as the centre back pairing. The keepers, decent. So they have a strong team, and in the squad they have or more players like that who come off the bench and make a contribution. But again, I think Spain's Achilles heel or potential Achilles heel for me is, can they be clinical in front of goal in the right moments against the better teams? Against Georgia, they scored 4. But Georgia did well up at that point, but we knew that was going to come to an end against Spain. So why I mentioned this is that against Germany, I've been really impressed with the centre-back pairing of Jonathan Tah and Rudiger. And I think that if they can manage, because we know Morata's sort of hit and miss. Williams and Lamel, although they're enterprising and vibrant, they add up spark to the attack. They're creators of chances, and they they will score again a nice position sometimes, but they're not consistent scorers yet. So I would more put them where you have Vinicius, last World Cup or so, in terms of the end product, in terms of goal scoring ways. I think Vinicius has improved in that respect. No, so I'm not disrespecting him, not showing any shade, but just to make the comparison of what I really mean. So I think that might be the only issue. I think they will create chances, not as much as they create against Georgia, but they will create chances, but will they be able to put them away? And if they fail to put them away, it keeps Germany in the game. And then can Germany's front players like Musiala and Wirtz and Havertz and Fulker, if he comes on, Gundogan, for example, what impact can they have at the other end? I think Cruz and his influence will be important as well.
For sure.
Can Spain's midfield contain or, diminish the influence of Cruz over 90 minutes? Because Cruz has really been orchestrator and the rhythm and setter for Germany so far in the tournament. But I'll get my prediction. I'm not sure if you agree with what I said, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm thinking it's going to finish 1-1 after extra time. Sorry, after 90 minutes, I'm predicting 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Spain are going to go through, but I think it's going to be. I'm going to pick Spain to go through on penalties. Okay. I think it's going to go the distance.
If it goes to penalties, I think Germany win.
What do you think of that? I know Germany are historically a penalty team too, but Spain too. Spain are not bad at penalties historically either.
But I do think that I really, really do think that Spain will go through.
Okay.
Yeah. Portugal, France.
Yeah. And the winner of the Spain-Germany game played the winner of Portugal and France.
Yeah.
So make that clear for the audience. Yeah. So Portugal's France. Want me to go first this time?
Sure.
All right. So like I said, France, both teams, to be fair, like two teams that are still looking for their best performance. Or like they're like two teams that haven't really hit their stride yet. To me.
Portugal were good for their first two games. And then they made all those changes against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And looked like crap. And then I think maybe did that contribute to the performance?
Who was Portugal's first two games again? I watched one of Portugal's games in the group stage. I saw the defeat against Georgia. But I saw they were also who else was in that group?
I can't remember right now.
Georgia, Portugal. I think Slovenia might have been in that group. If I'm not mistaken.
Let me scroll up.
No, sorry, Slovakia might have been in that group.
Slovenia, you're right. Wait, no.
And I can't be Slovenia were my group, were English group.
Right. Let me scroll up. So it's Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey.
Right.
Turkey.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Leave me alone. And Czech Republic.
Okay.
They're decent against the Czechs and very good against Turkey.
I think I watched Portugal's game in group phase, and I don't necessarily agree that they were very good. I think they did enough. I think they were. What's the word? They weren't bad, but they were like. It wasn't a standout performance. Like when I saw Spain, I was like, "Oh wow, this looks good." When I saw Germany, I was like, "Yeah, I'm impressed." I wasn't. I'm not trying to throw shit at other teams, but I was like, I still waiting for Portugal to click into gear and show me that they're a contender. Right, so remember I said that my whole thing is that Cam Martinez fit the right pieces together and the right playing style and made them a cohesive unit. I still feel like there's something missing or lacking with Portugal. So I still think that I still feel as though they haven't hit their stride yet.
Right.
I think the same about France to a certain respect. I think what France has, and this will probably be the case for a while, is that France has a very, very strong defense and some match winners that don't necessarily have to play well, but they can, come up with a moment.
Yeah, but they've been so unimpressive. Like, I'm going to say unimpressive. They're creating a lot of chances, in my opinion.
Right, they have their moments, yeah.
But they're just not scoring them, which is odd for France, I feel.
But there's the thing too. Like, I would say a lot of chances. They've created some really nice chances. So there are passages of play with France where there's a nice little 1-2 and a nice little bit of a nice move, but it hasn't been finished off. Remember the game against Netherlands, there were 2 or 3 times where they strung some really good passages of play together, but didn't score.
Yeah.
But again, those sequences of play haven't been happening with like overwhelming regularity. I feel like they haven't hit their stride yet.
Yeah, they haven't been awful, but they haven't been great.
So with Mbappe and Griezmann, players like that, even Ousmane Dembele if he features. Kingsley Coman as well. You have players that can produce something. So there's always like the chance where a goal could happen.
Right.
For example. So yeah, this one will be tight too. I'm gonna go for a Marissa. It's really tight. I think I'm gonna go for a I'm gonna go for a 1-0 France win.
I mean, based on how things have been happening, that's not like an outlandish prediction. Gosh, this is so tough to predict because I think both sides have match winners on their day. I think Ronaldo itching to score a goal.
Very much so.
But this is so hard to predict because I think, like you say, France have match winners and they're so solid in defense and everything.
Saliba has been doing really, really well.
Yeah. But gosh, my heart is telling me France, but I have a feeling Portugal will do something. But I'll still go with France. I'll go with France.
They could. But something I didn't mention, I'll mention it now quickly. So I'm still going to make one prediction though. But again, I find with Portugal, I'm hoping it won't be. But I feel like Portugal might turn up and do the same thing that Belgium do, which is not, lack a little bit of belief and even in moments don't necessarily go for juggler, and then it becomes a cage game. Which is France.
True.
So.
True. But yeah, I think I'll back France to go through as well.
Yep.
England, Switzerland. Let me start my stopwatch so I know when to stop you, because I know once you get on a roll about this team, you will never stop. With good reason, to be honest. Let me not say that.
Yeah, so I'll start by touching on what you said earlier about the England players and their bite back at the criticism that they have received. Well, certain sections, chiefly Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, that we've heard from. All right, so I kind of like it a little bit. Not for Harry Kane, more from Jude Bellingham. And this way. If it is, for example, that they have, and I don't think that I'm going to be very clear, this has nothing to do with Gareth Southgate. Because I don't think Gareth Southgate is the last person on earth that could be responsible for something like this. But if the players, that group of players, Bellingham and whoever else, have sort of like created a siege mentality type of thing, I think it is a good thing, because they're going to need it, right? Because if they...
A siege mentality because somebody just say you should be playing?
No. A siege mentality in terms of... No, it's not because... Okay, it's not because of what was said necessarily. I think that gets them. Because I don't think it's a case where... Oh, sorry. I'm not saying that's a case where the criticism is not warranted. It is warranted. But I think there's a football arrogance with Bellingham right now that we're seeing. With Harry Kane to a certain degree too. Where they feel as though it's been over the top. I don't think it's been over the top, but they feel as though it has been over the top. And why I like the siege mentality, if that's what we're seeing before is formulating. Because if they can use it as motivation to go a bit further in the tournament, allow what they did against Slovakia or what they managed to do in the end, then great. Because the whole point or the goal should be to stay in the tournament as long as possible. Especially considering that you're on the easier side of the bracket on paper and is a nice little or better rope to get into the final.
3 tournaments in a row, yeah. Anyways.
Well, I come with that too, if you want to talk about that. But I feel as though there are certain players in this camp, Benham, Walker, certain players in this camp who it feels like they are sort of saying that they need to protect some of the players in the squad. Because when you hear Harry Kane talk about players, whatever the case may be, we talk about it in private too. I feel as though their perspective is that some of the criticism has been a bit harsh or whatever the case may be, and they need to, and this is like a way of, lays everybody against us type of thing. So if when we do something good, we can rub it back in your face. That can be a good thing, right? In a competitive sense for our team. But it's not warranted. England have been playing badly. Let me just face it. I was never happy with the composition of the squad, as you know. I had my things, my little irks that Southgate did when he named his these 26 players or what's not. Do I think that England's general play would improve remarkably throughout the rest of the tournament? I'm not so sure. I wouldn't bet on it, because I don't think the players that he's selecting in his squad, I don't think they could do much more. And I know everybody talk about, there's a good squad, there's a good, a lot of quality in the squad and stuff like that. I always maintain that I think there is one world-class player and a couple emerging ones, and not necessarily, established as world-class just yet, for me, at least. But the reason I say that is because I think the squad has like 3 or 4 or 5, maybe too many new faces that haven't played together enough to form like a cohesive unit and patterns of play, and that's what you're seeing now. Because Southgate played the same people or different people that he would, let me say, from the Euros, he had a nucleus together, and outside the nucleus, he had the ones that he would often bring on or interchange with that nucleus, and he waited until the squad before the actual tournament to drop a lot of that nucleus, that outside nucleus that would have been interchangeable, that would have been really, really as a tech unit to bring these fresh places that haven't played together often.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That no-ball kind of like learning everybody else's game. And you shot yourself in the foot by taking Luke Shaw, which was bizarre, taking Luke Shaw, who has been injured as late. England have done this before, not with Southgate, but England have done this before with other managers where they've taken players that haven't been fully fit in the tournaments.
Right.
And they may not kick a ball. And it's not like Luke Shaw, it's Zidane that got to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, carry somebody else. So, to wrap up really quickly, England have been bad. I predicted them to beat Slovakia, but I said to you in private that I think that don't be surprised if they get beat based on how they've been playing. Nigel Benham sprung up with a moment of brilliance and got him out of jail. And then he had a bite back at the media.
Mm.
Which, for me, if that can galvanize the troops, great. If you get beat against Switzerland and you get beat handsomely or something embarrassing, so happens, then that's unfortunate.
But that's my thing, right? And I don't want to belabor the point because we gotta make our prediction and then move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But that last point you made, just before he scored that goal, and I thought that they were basically out. I mean, I'm sure everybody thought they were out. Mm-hmm. I was like, after all the bite bats y'all gave, this is the performance I'm gonna put in to go to the tournament. So that was my thinking. Mm-hmm. So it's like you say, if this galvanizes them to win the Euros, fantastic. Nobody will ever think about it again. But if you got all this thought and you still putting in crap performances, what's the point? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think for me, anyways, let me let you make your prediction.
England, Switzerland. You really put me on the fence here, Marissa. All right, my heart telling me England, my head telling me Switzerland. If that makes sense. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'll go my heart for this one. Just let me wrong a couple times, but hopefully right this time. I'll go my heart this time, and I think England was shit it to one somehow, somewhere, somehow.
I mean, I think Switzerland can win.
Mm-hmm. They definitely can.
But it's like you just don't put it past England for having that, and that's what I keep telling you. The coach sucks, but y'all have players that can pop up with moments like that. So I don't put it against England to come and have two wonderful moments of brilliance, or even one and win the game. But I think I could see Switzerland outplaying England and England nicking it. That's all I could say.
Here's the thing. I think this game might suit England a bit more than the others and the play so far, just because, right? I think that the way Switzerland will be playing, I think Switzerland will come out at England and it will create space for Foden and Saka and others to exploit. I think that type of game might suit England in terms of an open game against a stronger opponent. Where I think Slovakia had a goal up until the win to score the goal. But I feel like psychologically, England would have been a bit more tentative against Slovakia in the sense that we didn't want to lose this here, or type of thing. I think against Switzerland, it'll feel more like an even contest in a sense. Okay. And I feel like that might suit England a bit more. I agree with you. Said I think England have players like Benham, Kane, Foden, Saka. They got goals in the team. But if you look at their general play, though, they haven't been playing. And I don't know if it's pure luck or what's not, but I think Ivan Toney needs to feature more. Somehow, some way. Even if not from the start, you need to bring him because he offers something, and he was off my preference rather than Ollie Watkins, as you know.
I thought it was disrespectful to throw him on with 2 minutes left. I really did. And the reason why I said disrespectful is like, you needed a goal since the 20-something minute, and he was literally your last resort. And people making it seem like if it was a Gareth Southgate masterstroke, it's like throwing things against the wall and hoping to stay. Yeah. And he does because in those few, I mean, I switched off when Kane scored. I couldn't be bothered. Mm-hmm. But in those few minutes, like he was winning headers and flicking them on. He was offering a different dimension that Kane wasn't, and ultimately it helped Kane because he provided flick on for Kane to score, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I just think like Gareth Southgate needs to get over himself and play people that deserve to be played more. So that's my opinion.
I don't think it's disrespectful, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you why. Because if you look at it from the point of the matter that Tony's who Tony is, because Tony could play, and I like Tony. I've always said that I would have taken Tony and I would have left him Ollie Watkins. He can't both, and clearly can't make a money between the two. But here's the thing: the reason I don't think it's disrespectful because Southgate has made this bet, and this way it can't be disrespectful. Because when you carry strikers over the last 2 or 3 years in squads and qualification or whatever the case would be, think about it. You've had Harry Kane. Harry Kane generally stays fit for England. He may get injured for the club, but he generally will be fit for England. Every game, regardless of whether it's you've played Harry Kane, you've made a point that he's your captain, for goodness sake. You play him. You play him. How many caps do Callum Wilson, and I'm just talking strikers that he selected in recent years, how many caps do Callum Wilson, Evan Toney, and Ollie Watkins have? They've been in a lot of squads, but not really Tony, because Tony had a suspension. But they've been in most of the squads, Ollie Watkins and Callum Wilson. They don't have many caps. So I say it's not disrespectful. It's not a case where this guy is an integral part of the team or he has been featured a lot. It's a case where he's like a rookie, no making his international presence known.
He should feature more though, but
he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I'm saying it's not because he's not like. It's not like Let me think about an example. It's not like Raheem Sterling was in squad and you only 2 minutes left, or Marcus Rashford. That'd be a bit different.
Yeah, I get you. So let's go to the last game, which is Netherlands and Turkey.
No, I ain't right this time. Turkey, all right.
After about 50 attempts. This is going to be a really tight game. I've been impressed with Turkey. They played well today. Had a decent game against Czech Republic, although they had to wait pretty late. But I think the quality of the Netherlands will show through. I mean, Netherlands have an Austria performance in them where they lost that game, but I think Netherlands have enough quality to win this game for me. And I think it will set up a very, very good semi-final, regardless of who else England or Switzerland makes it.
Okay.
So that's my
Did you get a prediction?
I think Switzerland will dominate the game, but England will nick it.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we're on the same page. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Netherlands will. I think their additional quality up front, in terms of numbers, I think will be telling. And I think that they will go for 2-0 Netherlands win.
Notice I was shying away from giving actual scoreline predictions because
I thought that was the theme of the show.
No, I can't be bothered. It could be anything, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll be back here
after the Euros.
Yeah, and that'll be our last episode till the next season begins. But it's been a good tournament. Football has been enjoyable.
That's because Germany has won some games, right? If Germany were losing, I guarantee you that she would not have said that.
I want to thank our sponsors, ignoring the person to my left. Whole Health Pharmacy, whose ad we continue to forget, but at least we remember them at the end. Spirit Light Studios, follow us, Marissa Simone 91, June 9106, the Dugout Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed our little weekly shots. Andrew should be back with one probably Sunday or Monday after the quarters, right? Yeah? Can't wait for his thoughts.
Well, fair enough. I'm looking forward to the rest of the tournament. I do think the winner will ultimately come from the bracket with Spain and France and all those other big teams.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if someone from the other bracket wins it. But I guess once you're in the final, you have a chance.
True. It's true. So yes, this has been another episode of the Dugout Podcast. Join us again next time.